He's just a different type of player than what we've had before. He's just a big, tall, lumbering mess, and from set pieces, he's a monster. How's it going, everyone? My name is Stu, and welcome to the Deportivo La Coruña save here on FM24. Thanks for joining me in today's video, which is part number 31 and the final game of Season 4 of the save. If you've not watched it up until this point, have a look up there. There'll be a handy little tab that will have the playlist for the entire save on there, so you can go back and catch up. You could just go back and watch the last video, because that was quite a good one. Spoilers in 3, 2, I'm too excited. We won the Copa del Rey. We won our first big boy trophy. Very happy. And what a way to mark that would be to leave a like on the video for me. Go on, you know you want to, and leave a subscribe while you're there as well. It's completely free to do so. Both of them are, in fact. You'll make me happy. You'll put a smile on this face. What's not to love? Right, shall we get to the nitty-gritty of it, shall we, after all of that waffle? So, sit rep. We've got 2 games left of the season. We've already qualified for the Champions League. The pressure is kind of off because we can't win the league anymore. We can't actually get... we can kind of move a little bit between 4th and 2nd, but we're in the Champions League. All is well, all is as it is. The schedule has been as thus. I'll admit, it's not actually gone that great in the last few games. So, we won the Copa del Rey final. Since then, beat Atletico Madrid. Great. Beat Espanyol, good. Beat Sociedad, really good. They've been a slight bit of a bogey team for us. Lost against Bilbao, lost against Real Madrid. Close games. Not overly impressed with the Bilbao one. The Real Madrid one, we put up a good fight. It's Real Madrid. And then we did beat Celta Vigo 2-0 as well, which leaves us with the final 2 games of the season against Las Palmas first and Almeria second. Now, transfer-wise, let me just see whether... I've still got the email. Yes, I do. So, there's a slight spoiler. That's not worked at all, really, has it? We've signed Joe Veloso on a permanent. We've signed him for £16.5 million. £7.5 million of that is up front because we got £17 million as a transfer budget. It's still not a lot, but that is, I think, our biggest transfer budget we've had so far. Now, I've already used 7.5 of that, and I've put some of it towards wages. So, we have a remaining transfer budget of just under £8 million. We've got a lot of wage budget, but remember, because of the salary cap, we can only really sign so many players. So I am kind of holding off on free agents and things like that. A, because there's not really that many good ones out there who want old men, and I don't want to rely on old men. I think we're better waiting for seeing how much money we actually have to spend and then looking at young, kind of obscure players to bring into the team. I also want to give, as I mentioned at the end of the last video, some of the youngsters a go. We've got some 2-star potential wonder kids who have been sensational. Well, they've been good on their loans. Probably sensational is putting a little bit of a stretch on it, but they've been good is my point. So we'll want to give some of those guys a go, and we want to see what happens with them. So really, today's a bit of a dead rubber, but we're going to go with it anyway and just see how we do for the end of the season. So, the 11 for the game against Las Palmas is as follows. It is De Gea in goal, Carrillo, Akoli, Vandenberg and Miranda in defence, Gomez, Pereira da Costa and Veloso in the middle with Furic and Jota supporting Kjaergaard up front because Moukoko is injured again. This boy has had an issue with injuries recently. Injured, gets a couple of games. Injured, gets a run of games, doesn't score. Injured, couple of games, doesn't score. Injured again. Hasn't scored since March. We're in May. Big concern with him. Kjaergaard, however, I mean, he's not been prolific, but he's been chipping in where he's needed to, especially we put him as a target forward. He's not been spectacular, but he's done a job. Even Stoichkos scored the other game. I was delighted with that. Look, cheeky little goal there. There's Mazzala, admittedly. I have also changed things a little bit. I'm putting Pereira da Costa as Mazzala and Veloso as the playmaker. Veloso is actually a bit better as a playmaker than he is as a Mazzala. Pereira da Costa can do both equally well. So I'll put them on a little bit of training. We're going to give them the final couple of games of the season to see how they do with it. And unless anything dramatic changes, we're going to go into the season committing with those 2 that way rounds. He says, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But this is, again, bit of a dead rubber. It's not really going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but we're just going to try and have a little bit of fun. The pressure's off of us. We know where we're finishing. Let's go out and just batter a team. That's the hope. I don't actually know where Las Palmas are in the table, although their form recently is dreadful. Although, to be fair, when ours comes up, it won't look that much better, to be honest. There you go. It's got 2 big L's in the middle of it. It is slightly better than theirs, though. Right, let's see where they are in the table. They are in 12th, so they're not doing brilliantly. We should be beating them, but, I mean, it's end of the season. You never know what's going to happen at the end of the season. It's that weird kind of period where you might end up just dropping points randomly because he doesn't matter anymore. So we'll keep our eyes peeled and see exactly what happens. I mean, whatever happens is whatever happens at the end of the day. I'm not too bothered about it. Jota is in here and he goes for it himself. He should have passed the ball really, but he chose not to because he's a bit of a, I don't know, silly boy. Let's go with that. But it is a corner. Miranda to take. He's on a yellow card already. We're only 15 minutes in. Pass it to Jota into Furic. Furic, who was, last time I checked, still top goal scorer of La Liga, so he might get that honour this season. Miranda gets fouled here by Ibiza. Ibiza. And it is going to be a free kick that we never get to see, which is a bit of a disappointment. If we can keep Moukoko fit, I do think with another season under his belt and with a pre-season with us properly under his belt, I do think Kjaergaard's going to score. We might have to look at Kjaergaard, you know, because he's just a different type of player than what we've had before. He's just a big, tall, lumbering mess, and from set pieces, he's a monster. I mean, him and Van den Berg are just terrors. They're absolute terrors. We might have to look at signing him. Jota's picked up a knock, by the way. That's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. Let's set the corner play out and then we'll have a look at it. Right, Miranda whips it in. Looking for Van den Berg and Kjaergaard. They pull a save out of Aaron again. Right, let's have a quick look. What injury is it? Knee injury. Yep, he's coming off. Simple as that, he's coming off. We'll bring on Hlajiak, who hasn't really been spectacular this second half of the season. We'll give him a few minutes on his inside forward role. He's one of the. We need to also be looking at the players who aren't going to be here next season. There are a few of them, so we do need to have a look at those at some point. I do know Hlajiak is one of them. Kjaergaard is also one of them, so we will be without those two next season unless we do anything. I am thinking Kjaergaard has had a pretty good impact on the team when he's played, so I would like to bring him back in some form. I don't know whether I'd want to do a permanent. I mean, maybe I would though, to be fair. I don't know if I'd be against it. The only problem with him is his finishing is so bad, but then his dribbling isn't good, so Mazzala isn't necessarily that good for him, so it's finding out what his best position for the team would be. As an emergency target forward, I think he'd do a good job. Right, Furic now being forced out wide here, goes back to Carrillo. Hasn't kind of covered himself in glory recently, but Juan Miranda, talk about covering himself in glory. He's covered himself in masses of glory there. What a lovely goal that is. I mean, the keeper really did a really shocking job. It's along the floor. I mean, if I sat down, I think I could probably save that. I say sat down because I'm lower to the ground at that point. Hits it first time. He's hit it with some pace, to be fair. I'm being a bit unfair on the goalkeeper there, but I'm very happy for Miranda getting a goal there. A non-set piece goal as well. Very nice. Our defence is having a great time, by the way. An absolutely great time. McCurley's the only one who's not having a lovely time out there. But 2-0 is lovely. I'd love a third before half-time. We've struggled with going in at half-time 2 goals ahead. We have had the occasional wobble doing that. A third one, I think, will just settle us a bit more. Right, we do have a free kick, which I'm assuming Miranda is over because it is very much his thing. Taking an age to take it. There we go. Steps back. Still waiting. There we go. He's gone for it. He's hit the post as well. Goodness me. Miranda is a set-piece demon. Good first half. I mean, we still have the opportunity to get a goal here. It's a throw-in. We've thrown it back to them because of the injury, I think, there. But now we can start pressing them again. Veloso and Da Costa have not necessarily looked spectacular, but they've been inoffensive. And I'm okay with that. Right, Da Costa now. Looking for a ball to Kjaergaard. His passing abilities apparently have melted as he's no longer a playmaker, despite the fact he's exactly the same player. And we do give away possession a little bit. So if we can win the ball back here, lads. There we go. Da Costa's actually won it back. He's making me eat my words there. Ball to Hlajiak. Hlajiak's got space to shoot. He's put it wide. Hlajiak's lost his shooting boots recently, which is a bit concerning because he has been a bit of a shining light for us. I am going to put him on shoot less often, actually, because I've noticed more recently he has struggled to put the ball in the back of the net. He had that really nice run where he was putting the ball in on a regular basis. He's not been doing that recently. So let's move him. Let's kind of shake things up a little bit. Let's do what we can to try and make sure he can get back to that. Right, we'll say everything's great, which it is, to be fair. I'm very happy with how that first half went. No one's below a 6.8 as far as I can see. I will tell Miranda not to be a silly Billy and get sent off because I will be very cross. And then the other players who aren't on 7 or above, we'll just have a word with them and just say, you're doing okay, but you can do a little bit better if you really try hard enough. And we'll leave it at that. We'll go into the second half just as it is, with the only change being Hlajiak. Hlajiak now being on don't shoot all the time. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he'll be a little bit more clever. Van den Berg, I tell you what, recently as well, our set pieces are starting to look a bit more lethal with just a shade off being perfect with them. We have scored quite a few of them recently, but we've also had quite a few that have been like that one, where we're getting very, very close to being very dangerous, and we're just kind of missing the mark a little bit. Right, 60 minutes, start making some changes. Okoli's going to come off. I am going to bring on Herculano because we do want him to be a part of the squad next season. I should really bring Casale on at some point as well. I will do, I just won't do it right now. And I could take Furic off. I'm going to leave him on though. I'm going to leave the rest of it for a little bit, just because I want to see if we can get a third goal just to settle the game completely. And then I'll start making the final changes soon. Although we are getting kind of deep into the match, so I'm going to make more changes in a minute actually. Yeah, let's just do it now. Let's see, what do we want to do? I'm going to take Furic off. I was threatening to do it before. Fermin can come on, and I'm going to take off Miranda for Ilic. And then we've got that final change to make in a minute. I was debating bringing some of the loans players back from their clubs to play in the final game of the season. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave them at their clubs to finish their seasons, because their seasons might not finish at the same time as ours, and we don't want to ruin it for their clubs. That feels like it'd be a bit of a mean thing to do. I am going to bring on Casale, as I mentioned. We're going to take Vandenberg off. He's had a good game. I can't, apparently, because I've used all my stoppages. Never mind. As you were, boys. We'll just carry on. I keep forgetting about the stoppages thing. That's thrown me off a number of times, I have to say. It really has done. Right. Ball out. Carrillo heads it to Fermin. Fermin playing on the right, which is a bit unusual for him. Normally he is left, or he's a Mazzala. Doing some good work there. They're looking for Kjaergaard, and Kjaergaard's desperately unlucky. Da Costa isn't tall enough. Plajek is, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. And it remains 2-0 in the 85th minute. They had a little burst in the second half, but we have been the dominant team all the way through. And dare I say, we're closing in on a clean sheet. Closed in on a clean sheet. We beat Las Palmas away from home, second to last game of the season. Good performance. Very happy with the clean sheet. Probably could have had more goals, but bearing in mind, we're using a target forward in the top flight. The fact that we've won, I consider to be a good thing. Only a couple of days with the injury for Jota. That is a result. Very happy with that indeed. Very happy with all of that. Practically delighted. Practically delighted. Right, we'll go away and we'll come back for the final game of the season, and we'll see whether we can finish things off with a victory against Almeria. That'd be lovely. Back in time for the final game of the season against Almeria. Just to confirm the table as it stands at the moment, Almeria are relegated along with Valladolid. Sporting Gijon also looking like they're going to be the next team to go down as well. We are in third. We can't be caught and we can't catch Barcelona. So this is a bit of a dead rubber in this match. Now, I am debating having a look at the players we have got at the club and just debating are there any that I can put on the bench. I'm thinking maybe someone like Benson Kerr, maybe. Maybe we put him on the bench and we give him a little bit of game time. Possibly, I don't know. Maybe we don't do that, but I'm thinking we put him on the bench anyway and we at least have the option. Savino, I think, is too old for us to do that. He's the wrong one as well. I'm not thinking of him. I'm thinking of the defender that we brought in January, whose name I clearly cannot remember, which is not ideal when I was thinking about maybe using them. But again, I think he's one of the players who we wouldn't be able to use because he's either too old or he's just not available. I can't actually remember which one it is. It's Rengifo. I've just remembered as soon as I saw him. It's Rengifo. So let's put him on the bench instead of... I don't know who to take off the bench. That's the problem. Because I kind of like all of them. There's no one who's been a real kind of dud. I'll take Comas off the bench purely because he hasn't really played recently. And I mean... that's kind of a poor way to kind of go with it, to be honest with you, but we'll do that. So we'll put those two on the bench, a winger and a defender, and we'll see what happens in the game. But we're going to start relatively full strength with a couple of rotated parts. So your team for the final game of the season is De Gea in goal, Trilli, Casale, Vandenberg and Miranda in defence, Moncayola, Stoichers and Veloso in the midfield with Furic and Hlajek supporting Kjaergaard up front. We have rotated. Stoichers is in, just to give Da Costa a bit of a break. He's had a very decent first season with us. Stoichers has as well. I just want to give him a bit of game time. And we're starting with Casale because he's barely had any game time, and Trilli, A, because he needs game time, and B, because Carrillo's picked up a small knock and wouldn't take a painkilling injection, despite the fact that I asked him to. And Moncayola's starting as well. Let's see how the final game of the season goes. I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest with you. I feel like we're at home. We're against the team who's finished bottom. We should be battering them. It doesn't mean we will do, but we should be battering them. But let's see what is going to happen. Again, those two losses really kind of... one of them didn't annoy me because it was against Real Madrid, but the other one against... was it Bilbao? I think it was against Bilbao. It annoyed me anyway, just because of the nature of it. But here we go. Let's see if we can see the season off in a little bit of style. I mean, it would just be like us to lose this game. But again, it doesn't really matter for anything. So it is what it is. We do give possession away quite early on, which is a bit of a concern. Just a little bit of a concern. But let's see whether we can pick things up. Ball forward to Pozo. No, Moncayola doing a good job there, actually. We've got to look at some of these players we've loaned in and decide, do we want to go for them either on a permanent basis or on another loan basis, and see whether we can actually get those bodies in. Remember, we haven't got much money to work with because of the Veloso deal. We didn't have much money to work with regardless of the Veloso deal. So we do need to have a bit of a look at some creative finances and see if we can move any players on. I am debating one or two who we could possibly shift out the door. Hlajek, I think that was a shot on target, to be fair, so he's improved and he's won us a corner. Let's see if we can make something of it. We've been pretty close in the corners recently. Vandenberg and Kjaergaard both on the pitch. Miranda whips it in, looking for both of them, and it's just wide from Kjaergaard. Really good effort from him. He's gone for the far post, which I think is a bit more difficult, but he's gotten a bit unlucky. Veloso on a 7.0 already for us. Their goalkeeper's the player who's on over a 7 at the moment, so we are clearly testing him, and Veloso is clearly playing quite well in that playmaking role. It's early days, obviously, but looks like he's doing okay. Moncayola, I thought he was going to go for a worldie there. Hlajek has, though, and there is Adam Hlajek scoring a goal, which is a bit of a sight we've not seen in a little while. But Moncayola gets a cheeky assist as well, and it's 1-0 in the 18th minute. Huzzah! I feel a bit better. Miranda to Hlajek here. Hlajek plays it over to Moncayola. It's effectively a 1-2 here between the two of them. Lovely pass back from Moncayola. I'd like to get him back. He's been a really solid backup defensive midfielder. The only thing holding back is if we can get Comas back and just remember to give him game time. Comas can play as a central defender, so he's a little bit more useful. But Moncayola has been a really good standing defensive midfielder, so I'd have nothing wrong with trying to bring him in next season. Right, it's whipped in again, and Kjaergaard with a bullet header. Again, if we can get Kjaergaard in as well, I'll be delighted, because he's been a bit of a surprise package for us. He's just been a menace in the air, and I'm a bit fussy normally. I don't normally like being the manager of a team that does that and just bullies people in the air. Equally, though, I'm not used to having it, and it's quite fun. It doesn't make for the prettiest football, but it's quite fun. He can't really do a lot else, bless him. He just runs around like a bit of a headless chicken, but if the ball comes in, he's pretty good at it. 2-0, very happy with that. Again, you know my feelings on the 2-0 scoreline. I'd love a third before we go in. It's whipped in. Kjaergaard cannot, for once, get on the end of it. Comes out to Veloso, who's going to try and do a bit of magic. Lovely little turn there randomly to Stoikers into Casale now, who's getting a rare game. Remember, he's a permanent transfer, so we need to get him some game time. Didn't start off so well. I think he has found his feet here a little bit now. Furic does a lovely job of cutting inside there. Goes out to Vandenberg. Vandenberg looking to get it forward to Veloso. Waiting for the right pass. Kjaergaard. Hlajek. Lovely passing here. And it's a tackle. And I think that's a penalty. I think that is a penalty. It's going to get checked by the referee. He's not going to go over to his little monitor, which has happened a couple of times this season, which has been quite fun. I haven't seen it that much when I've used Premier League teams. No penalty. Interesting. I have seen a few of those this season as well, which has been quite good, even though we've missed out without them. But it's been quite good to see that it isn't just every time that animation happens, it's just going to be a penalty. Ball to Moncayola. Oh, Moncayola. He deserved a goal just for the work he's put in as the backup defensive midfielder. I'd have loved it. Lovely ball in there from Miranda. We're unlucky nothing comes of it. Trilly was on the left there for some reason. Got another corner here. We are absolutely wrecking shop here. They do clear it though, only as far as Stoikers. Stoikers now. Getting it out to Miranda. Back to Stoikers, back to Miranda. Lovely passing from those two. Back to Veloso now. Veloso cutting inside. He's going to go for it. He is, and he's gone and got his goal. 10th goal of the season for Joe Veloso in his slightly new position. Makes it 3-0. I get my wish. I'm a happy chappy. Good times. Good times. Do you know what? It's almost as if we're playing bottom of the league, isn't it? Sorry, Almeria fans. I don't mean to be that guy. I apologise. 3-0. Very happy with that. Stroke of half time. That'll do. That was good. That was good. I really enjoyed that. Miranda with 2 assists as well is really, really good to see. Delighted with how we're playing. No one's having a terrible game. Furic is having the best game in the world. I'm actually going to, do you know what? It's 3-0. I'm going to take Furic off. I'm going to bring on Bentancur. And we're going to move Hlajek over onto the other side because I am a gambler. That is what we're going to do. He likes to play as a winger. He is left-footed. We're going to play him as a winger. He's got good crossing. Let's give him his debut on the final game of the season. Why the devil not? Why the devil? It's a terrible idea, isn't it? It really is. It really is. I mean, I could keep Furic on and take Hlajek off. Hlajek's actually played quite well though, so I feel bad doing that. I'd like to really keep Hlajek playing on the left, but Bentancur cannot. Bentancur, I keep calling him Bentancur. Bentancur cannot play on the right, so we'll just, you know what? It's the last game of the season. Let's just have a bit of fun. Let's just do it. Let's give the young kid his debut. Signed him in January. He's played in the B team exclusively since then. Final game of the season. Let's give him a start and just see what happens with him. Right. Trilly to Hlajek. First highlight, second half. It's literally only just started as well. Casale goes all the way back to De Gea. I did want to start Alberto in this game as well, but he picked up a knock before it. So De Gea has, I think, played pretty much every single game this season. And he's done a decent job for us. It's not been spectacular, but I think it hasn't been spectacular because our defence is only so good. It's good, don't get me wrong. I think our centre-back partnership is kind of the best out of everyone other than the big two. But, you know, it's one of them. We play an attacking game, we're going to concede goals. Right, Hlajek now. How well will he do on the right? Ball in to Kjaergaard, and that is going to be a penalty that time, surely. Kjaergaard's actually gone down a little bit dramatically there. Oh, the trainer's on as well. I think Kjaergaard might be done. It's just a good job that it's the final game of the season, really, isn't it? It is a penalty. And let's see what happens. Right, it's a penalty to take. It's going to be... Well, it's not going to be Furic. It's going to be Miranda to take. And he gets his goal. 2 assists in the game. He's also scored a goal. This is 7th of the season. I forgot that he's one of our penalty takers. He's a good penalty taker as well. And there we go. 4-0. Turning into a bit of a riot at the moment. Kjaergaard looks like he's gotten away with no injury as well, which is really good to see. That would have concerned me a little bit. Right. Wow. What a performance this is to end the season. Very happy with it. Really glad it's a home game as well. Glad the home fans have got to see this. Dominated XG, dominated match momentum. Really, really nice to see. Right, Casale into Veloso, who's having a storming game, by the way. Into Vandenberg. Vandenberg out wide to Miranda. Miranda back into Vandenberg. Into Veloso. Veloso. Stoikers. Stoikers goes out wide to Hlajek. Hlajek, is he going to make it 5? He's not. It's saved. It's saved quite well. Before the corner gets taken, I am actually going to take Miranda off. Bring Ilic on, get him some final minutes before the end of the season. And you know what? We'll make another change as well. And you know what? That other change. I'm going to take Casale off. Going to be bold and bring Rengifo on. Let's give him some football. I'm not going to play him as a libero. That is madness. Let's give him just... Why not? Let's give him his debut. We're 4-0 up. Yes, he's a 1.5 star player. 2 star if you play him as a libero. What's the harm it could be? What harm? Oh, we've scored. Sepp Vandenberg. Excellent. He's gone and got us a 5th. I feel even better about the decision now because we don't have to worry quite as much. Excellent. So we've effectively got, although they're not all wonder kids, Bentancur and Rengifo don't come up as wonder kids. Ilic does. And the other 2 are 4.5 to 5 star potential. We've basically got 3 wonder kids on the pitch. I know it doesn't exactly work like that, but in my head, we've got 3 wonder kids on the pitch. Right. A couple more substitutions. I'm actually going to rest Veloso, so let's take him off. Let's put Arellana on. In what might be his final appearance for the club. I haven't fully decided that, but it very well might be. And I'm actually going to take off Kjaergaard, and Mokoko's going to get 15 minutes at the end of the game because he's just about fit enough to play. And we'll just see whether we can get a goal for him just to end things off. Mokoko's been a little bit of a disappointment with his injuries, but I'm hoping a good pre-season off. Sorry, a good break off and then a good pre-season following it, and he can get up and running again. That's the hope. But as final games of the season go, I would say this is pretty textbook. We've actually got one more highlight before the game ends. 3 minutes of added time. We're halfway through it. Arellana, Ilic, into Moukoko, into Hlajek. And Moukoko actually turns provider for Adam Hlajek, who gets another goal in the game. That's really nice to see. I'm really happy about that. Hlajek, again, had a bit of a rough spell. He was having shots, but they were just wild and going wide. He's been pretty good today. And Moukoko, unselfishly turning into provider, also makes me smile quite a bit as well. I'd like him to have got a goal, but I'll take an assist. And that is the final game of the season over. Another very successful one. The most successful we've had to date. We get Champions League football again. We got out of the group stage into the knockout round proper. And we won our first big boy trophy in the Copa del Rey. I see that as nothing but victories, genuinely. 3rd place is cemented. It already was anyway. We finish back-to-back seasons in 3rd place, I think. I think we finished there last season, but 81 points. Atletico Madrid finished 4th. Villarreal miss out completely on the Champions League. They had to settle for Europa, as do Valencia. Bilbao settle for Europa Conference. And the relegated team, Sporting Gijon, one of our local rivals, remember, Valladolid and Almeria, who we've just beaten, those two were already relegated anyway. Fantastic. I'm really happy with that. The fans apparently want a permanent deal for Hlajek. He would cost... He wouldn't cost a lot of money. But he scored 13 goals for us in La Liga from 18 starts, 11 sub-appearances. I wasn't going to sign him. I'll be completely transparent with you. I wasn't going to sign him. But I might have a look at that, you know. I might have a look at that off camera and see how cheap in this range we can get him for. Because that was a good performance from him. Yes, against the bottom team of the league, but still, it's a good thing. La Liga 2 is an interesting one, by the way, because our B team, if I have a quick look at them, I've got 2 games left. Win both of them. In fact, win one of them, and they're in the playoffs. And they could get promoted to La Liga 2. And then we enter that fun bit where if they get promoted to La Liga, which is very unlikely, they have to stay in La Liga. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But they could get promoted as things stand, doing very, very well. 18 wins. They've scored plenty of goals. We won't talk about their defence. They're just outscoring everyone, which is what I like to see. Right, next video is going to be the Transfer Special Season Review. We'll talk about what's going to come in Season 5. Again, no longer going to be the final season of the save. We're going to carry on until FM25 now. We'll see what happens. We'll see what we can do in the transfer market. Again, just to remind you, not a lot of money left. We've already spent some of it on Veloso, who's coming in on permanent. But I think I'm optimistic for next season. We've shown that we can do it back-to-back again, just to confirm. Last season, finished third as well. Back-to-back third-place finishes. This season we finished on 81 points. Last season we finished on 71. We got 10 more points this season. Everyone raised their game. Other than the top 2, we only finished 9 points off the top. Keep that in mind for next season because that is sensational. I'll have a look at this kind of stuff later on, but you can see Chris Furic has ended up with the Golden Boot or whatever it's called in Spain. Very happy with that. He's also not that far on the assist chart, as is Miranda. I mean, I think it's a good season. Clean sheets I want to have a quick look at as well. De Gea finished 4th. I'll have that. I'll have that all day long compared to what we had before. That's sensational. Right, I'm going to go away and then I'll be back with you in the season review transfer special and we'll see what we can do to get this squad ready for Season 5. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a big like on there for me. Do not forget to subscribe as well. Again, it's completely free. It makes me happy. You might as well do it. It's only one click. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.